Welcome to the show. I am honored to have a first-time guest on the show, Julian Flenory. Julian, welcome to the show.
My man, thank you for having me on.
It's nice to have you on. You are an undefeated amateur heavyweight, 2-0. Both of your wins come by stoppage, one in the first round, one in the second round. Let's start there. What was it like to get those wins and to start your career? Obviously, undefeated must be a good thing, but to win by two knockouts, what happened there, and how's that feeling?
Well, it's great. Obviously, you want to win to be able to progress as a athlete, both as an amateur. You want to be able to win, accumulate wins, have a good base. So when you turn pro, you can hit the ground running. As far as those, they're both pretty quick fight. If amateurs, the rounds are 2 minutes. So I'm looking at about 3 minutes of fight time between two fights. I'm getting in a lot of training time, so it's not like I like the experience. So I am looking for, whether it's this one or one and a fight ahead of time, just a good long fight. Better test your skills, both stand up on the ground, really see where you're at. But you can't complain if you're getting the job done quick. It's ideal as well.
That's a good problem to have. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's also nice to have the mindset. I think that's very mature of you, sir, to have the mindset that when you get in a fight that goes long, whether it's a decision or just a scrap, to have that mindset that's got to happen at some point. It's great to see. I'm going way back to Shane Carwin in the UFC, knocking everybody out in the first round. His first fight going to the second round, he gasses out. Now, I'm not putting that all on Shane. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you can be a little too good at the first round knockouts, and it's better to have a more longer fight. Now, your first fight was actually all the way back in 2017, huge layoff to 2020. Then with COVID, another huge layoff, a lot of canceled bouts. You're not getting much of a routine in as far as staying fighting. So what's it been like training during these huge gaps?
Well, nothing as far as the training, nothing's really lacking there. I'm still going hard. I'm there. Like, I don't take any breaks off like some fighters might take vacation time away from training, like a month or several weeks or so. I'm constantly in the gym, constantly evolving. So time in between, I'm still doing jiu-jitsu tournaments, super fights, had a kickboxing match, trying to get into all different type of events that I can, just to, get some experience in there. I don't have a high school or collegiate wrestling background like a lot of guys. I didn't grow up doing boxing, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, karate, anything like that. So every time I go to practice, I'm learning more. Anytime I'm learning new wrestling, new jiu-jitsu, anything that comes down to boxing concepts, striking concepts, everything's still relatively new. I'm fresh in the sport. I'm young. I'm only 25, and I only have 2 fights as an amateur. So I have lots of ways to improve and just work on my ways. So as far as the big gaps, they're definitely not ideal. If I could fight 4 or 5 times a year, get myself on a kind of a schedule, that would be great. That's ideal, and you can monitor progress easier that way, and there's not such huge gaps coming into where it's like almost every time I'm fighting, it's like a homecoming fight. It's people are backing out, there's COVID, there's a bunch of different obstacles, shows don't, whatever misfortunes happen where they don't come together, lots of obstacles. So I'm just very grateful to finally have this opportunity to showcase my skills. I've been working for years.
Well, that definitely shows the value of persistence. I think people sometimes watch MMA at a higher level, like UFC or Bellator, where those guys are locked into pro contracts and they can basically fight more or less fairly standard because it's set up that way. At the amateur and the regional level, that's just not the way it is. It takes a lot of fortitude. When I was a coach running an MMA gym, I had fighters that mentally they would only train when they had a fight scheduled, which you just can't do. You just can't do
right.
that.
You have to be, you never know when a short notice bout's going to come up.
Never know.
Yeah, and you always want to be ready for those because most of the times those are the big opportunities as well. So
absolutely. Now for you, let's back up a little bit. You mentioned that you're taking kickboxing and jiu-jitsu and all that stuff, but what got you in MMA in the first place? What were your high school sports? Like, what made you transition from whatever you were doing into the martial arts?
Well, really, I was watching fights in high school and in late 7th, 8th grade, middle school, and I really liked them, as well as I had friends who were always getting the pay-per-views and we were watching them. I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, huge, that's, it's combat. So
That's the
boxing growing up,
combat capital of the world.
yeah, I was watching boxing all the time growing up. So I loved boxing growing up. And I was just ready to, once I got to college and I had a little bit more freedom. As far as in high school, I was playing football, I was playing basketball, got a scholarship at Clarion University to go play football up there. I played up there for 3 years. And after my first year up there, I got into martial arts. I actually started training at Clarion MMA, a gym that's up there at the school. And I just, fell in love with it. And I like I like the principles of it. I like the self-defense aspect. I like the respect aspect that comes with it. I like competitive. I always loved playing football and basketball, but I never got that one-on-one individual feel where it's all on you, where all the accountability is on you. And I've always been a work ethic driven person. So I think in a sport where it's you win or lose based on your decisions, your training, your preparations, I like that mentality. I like going into those situations, and then doing grappling matches and stuff. I liked it. Had a knack for it, started out pretty good. And then as far as striking, who doesn't like to punch someone in the face, especially after you do it for a little bit of time, get some skills at it. So after I did it for about a year or two, I was still playing football. And once I stopped playing football, I just started to pursue that full on, just because, I love it as a passion, but I also like where it can take me. I want to teach one day. Obviously, goals in martial arts, you want to get to the highest levels in fighting, but I want a black belt. I want to do lots of different things in the sports. I want to compete at jiu-jitsu at a high level, have boxing matches. So I just like everything that entails in martial arts.
Now your gym is kind of known for their jujitsu and their grappling. And so who do you look up to? Who are your main coaches at your gym? And you mentioned wanting to be a black belt. I know that's a path you have to spend a lot of time on in addition to training MMA. So talk about that.
Right. Well, I'm learning under Isaac Greeley. Chris Dempsey, obviously, he's a UFC Bellator vet. He's huge. Dom Mazzata, love working with him, striking. And then as far as who I'm working with, I work with everyone. I work with everyone from the smaller guys on up. You get different looks, you get different speeds, as long as you can maneuver with them. I'm not a big guy that's going to hurt a small guy. Like I grapple and I spar with the 135ers, the 145ers, no problem there. But as far as who I go with a lot, it's Justin Pippins, Cody Gamble, Chris Hustleton, John Antonitis, Chris Dempsey, of course, Jake Lowry. Like, we have a lot of good, high-level, big bodies in there. Trent Zadarko. We have a lot of guys in there where they're above 200 pounds or 220 pounds, and they're good athletes. They have a good wrestling background, and working with them has helped me develop my skills, especially in the grappling background where I lack, and that's their specialty. So it really helps bring my skills together, learning under such accredited people.
Sounds like a great fit for you. When you were talking about your very self-aware mindset of recognizing that you want to be in an individual sport where all the responsibility falls on you, in the sense that you can have a perfect game in basketball or football and still lose because the rest of the team didn't work it out, right, or whatever it is. You mentioned Chris Dempsey, a shout out to him. He's not doing MMA so much, but he's doing pro, and he's got a big pro BJJ fight match coming up in Texas. Obviously, it was posted up on Facebook that Coach Dom Mazzata, for you, got his second stripe on his black belt, which I'm sure was exciting for the team to see that. And then your fearless leader, the guy in charge of all of it, Coach Isaac Greeley, won really a lifetime achievement at the IBJJF international tournament, winning in the black belt division. What did it feel like in the gym to have so much of the people that are in charge, the coaches, really just still exceeding and excelling at such a high level?
Well, it's really cool to see your leaders, the people who, mentor you, still leading from the front. Obviously, they're in their age is where they could be just completely coaching, or they don't have to be competing at all. To see Isaac going out there laying it on the line, it's just extremely impressive. I can only hope that when I'm his age, I can function half as well as he can, because it's incredible seeing what he does with the wealth of wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and MMA knowledge he has to be able to put it out in the line still to this day, even against the younger guys. Like, he had a fight to win match against a 20-something-year-old UFC vet, I remember, like a year and a half ago before COVID. And it's insane that he just took him out so quickly just against like other high-level guys. And then you have guys like Dempsey who are still putting it out there on the line, whether it's fighting or grappling at a high level, and they're executing. He's fighting for belts and grappling left after right. Dom just coming, he's becoming, I love him as a coach and stuff like that. So there's lots of guys who they have the experience, they have the track record. So it's not just guys who have the knowledge that can give it to you. They can show you kind of like the blueprint of how they did it, how to navigate it in certain situations. So that's kind of, experience is key. And the guys who are teaching me have a wealth of knowledge. So it's always nice. I'm always learning. There's never a time where you go into the gym and there's something going on. You can be a high level belt with all the guys in there with their different learning variations and techniques. You're just getting so many different looks. And other black belts that I'm learning from as well, as far as grappling professors, I have Matt Schaefer as well. He's a black belt. Jimmy Serra, he's a black belt for a long time. And just having that wealth of knowledge in the gym it's insane. It's an understatement to, I don't know how to word, just because we have so many black belts in the gym. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find any other gyms in Western Pennsylvania, maybe even the country, that have any given day 4 to 6 black belts in the room that are all transferring different information, that have all been across the country, learned from other black belts, had their own experiences at different levels. So it's a lot of knowledge, and I'm just trying to soak it all in.
You certainly have a very appreciative attitude. The Mad Factory is one of the best in the Pittsburgh area for sure. Hunter, the GM for 247 Fighting Championship, put out a nice blog on the 5 or 6 good local gyms. Obviously, Matt Factory, the Academy, and several others are on that list. You mentioned Jay Pippins, a big heavyweight. You mentioned Cody Gamble, a big heavyweight. And so obviously you have some really good, even the pros, Darko and Lowry, they're tall framed guys, even though they fight lower.
Yeah, you would never think if you saw them at the Giant Eagle that they fight at like 185.
Yeah, it wasn't Darko all the way down to 70. I'm pretty sure he just fought at 170.
Yeah, yeah, and I completely forgot about that. That's insane because he's a big boy. Yeah. He's usually a pretty big boy. So when he said he was at that weight, I was like, this man's cutting off an arm to get into that ring.
Well, I think his pro debut, I called it, was a 205, which makes sense given how big he is. It didn't go his way. Then he dropped down to 85. Now he's been fighting at 70. And Jake Lowry looks to have a bright future, even though he's just had 2 pro fights at 185. Looks like that's a great future for him. Speaking of Jake Lowry, did you get to watch it live or in replay? His incredible, gutsy, incredible knockout performance over Hatch, where he got hurt early and had to battle all the way back through some of the worst.
I was there. Yep, I was there. It really showed his toughness and his perseverance to get through a hard situation like that. I mean, he's one of the fighters in the gym where, when you talk about potential, sky high. Like, he's going to be in the UFC, he's going to be in the Bellator. Like, he's going to be in those leagues. He's that good. So for him to have something, for him to get hit like that early, like, it happens to everyone, but he's that dominant of a fighter. You just don't expect it to happen to him. So when someone that good, they suffer. Obviously, he was on his back for a period of time, and that guy was a beast. When you can weather through that and then just completely take over the fight and give out an ass whooping, it shows your character more than anything. But his skills are next level. That's for certain.
Yeah, it's a great hats off to Jake Lowry. I mean, he's incredible. I've interviewed him before. It's going to be wonderful watching his career as well as everybody from the Matt Factory. But I remember also taking a look at his corner, and you were talking about those coaches, Coach Isaac Greeley, just being so good at what he does and so calm that even though the first round went badly, about as badly as it could go, being calm, giving advice, and not acting like the fight's over or you should give up. And I think it was a great overall win, not only for Lowry, the crowds went nuts, but I mean, it was crazy, but also just for what the Matt Factory produces, guys that are going to continue to find a way to win even when the road gets tough. What do you want to see out of yourself? You haven't fought in over 2 years. You've had big layoffs. You're undefeated. You've obviously got world-class coaching around you. It sounds like you have a right attitude that you want to be humble and learning, and all of those things. You played Division I football and basketball, so clearly you've got some athleticism. What do you want to see out of yourself Saturday?
Saturday, I just want to see things kind of come together. It's been a long time. I just want to make sure that I can control the controllables, make sure that I'm going into this clear-headed with my skills sharpened. And if I can get a quick knockout, a quick submission, I mean, that's ideal. And that's what I am going for. I want to be a fighter that attacks, forward pressure, ends fights quickly. I don't really want to go to the second, third round. If I have to have those dog fights, which I want in the future, then when the time comes, the time comes. But for this upcoming Saturday, I am expecting a quick win. I want to go out there. I want to be dominant. I want to look clean. If it goes 2-3 rounds, if it has to go longer than I expect, then hopefully I showcase my skills, overall kickboxing, clean grappling, not just a lot of guys get takedowns and lay on each other. I want to be active. With these rules, you can't punch to the face, but punch to the body, looking for submissions, changing positions, stand up, working the jab, getting kicks all over the place. I want to be able to show a diverse game. I've been working for a long time. It's not like I've had 2 or 3 fights to show the kickboxing and these 2 or 3 fights and show the grappling in these 2 or 3. So I want to go out there and I want to get it done fast. And I just want to be able to get out clean so I can get back in for 247 here really quick, because I really want to make 2022 a very productive year in MMA and not just grappling. I've been doing a lot of grappling matches recently, and that's cool, but I want to make sure I'm getting my MMA fights in, and come Saturday, I think it's going to be a quick one for myself.
Well, looking to the future, 247 has already announced cards in April and May, and if you're healthy and look well, there's a lot of good heavyweight matchups. Another thing that's interesting, you mentioned the rule set. I usually like to have to explain that when I'm on the commentary team talking about rule set. What's cool for you is, given the fact that you finally made it to your 3rd fight, I'm looking on Tapology, you've had so many cancellations. It took you a while to get to your 3rd fight. Just the fact that you're having this 3rd fight means that you will be able to get registered as an advanced amateur in your next fight, which of course is a huge game changer. It allows fists to the face on the ground. Still no head kicks, still no knees or elbows to the face, but no shin guards. It really starts to up sort of the level of what the fighting looks like and what you can do. So I'm excited to see you not only this Saturday, but also, since you have this mindset of future oriented, to see what you can do once you're at the advanced amateur. The rounds are longer. 3 minutes to work is a lot longer than 2 minutes. And so it'll be really exciting to kind of see what gets going even after this fight. I'm glad you're focused. Thanks for taking time out of your fight week to come on the show. Brawl on the Burgh 10. Get tickets from the Mat Factory, from the fighters, or also online at 247fighting.com. And I'm sure Monroeville Convention Center is going to be packed. They've actually been adding seats because of how full the crowd's going to be, because Kama from the Academy is a UFC guy who's coming back to Pittsburgh. And obviously the Mat Factory has several fighters on as well. So I'm very excited to see you in action. It'll be Pittsburgh's first time seeing you right here for 247. So thanks for taking time out. Can't wait to see you Saturday. Julian.
Thank you for having me on, and I'll be talking to you after the win. Don't worry.
I love the confidence. I'll see you then. Have a good one.
See you then.
All right. Bye-bye.